Hello, I'm Jeff MacArthur, here to talk about how comics, one of my great past loves, have entered the digital age. Now, the most obvious way that they've done this is through film technology. And with recent special effects being able to create the stories convincingly of superhero action and superhero adventure, we've found that comics have been brought very successfully into the film medium. But what about more classic paper and ink comics? Well, these have also embraced the digital age in a variety of ways. First of all, there are online comics. These comics, also called web comics, are distributed sometimes exclusively online, and you absorb them through the internet where you go to web pages to read them. Now, there's also digital comics, which are produced entirely digitally through the use of a computer using 3D graphics or vector graphics and graphic tablets and the like. Finally, more recently, companies like Marvel have begun introducing CD-ROM and DVD sets of their scanned comics for the past 40 years in some cases of Spider-Man, X-Men, and other comics. The DVD-ROM comics sometimes even provide voiceovers, music, and special effects, along with the selection of special features to help enhance your experience. Let's go inside and talk to Cal Johnston, owner of Strange Adventures. So Cal, what do you think of this comics evolution into the digital age with web comics, online comics, digital comics, and Marvel and other people packaging comics onto DVDs and CDs and stuff like this? How's that affecting the comic industry, do you think?
It's a little bit of a mixed bag, much the same way it is for music and movies and books in general. In part, it's a great thing. In part, it's a bit of a bad thing. But it's definitely something that's coming, so you might as well get on the bandwagon and make the best use of it. There's great examples of fellows who don't get their foot in the door with a comic publisher and put their information, their comic strips or their comic books up online, start to build a bit of a fan base, and then come out with a full comic book or, an actual tangible piece of work. Which I don't think will ever get rid of that tactile sensibility where you do want to hold it in your hand. But certainly the web is a great way to get the word out there.
Are there things you see coming that are really going to change how we absorb comics? Like, I very much appreciate the tactile sense thing. What do you think? Do you think that's going to become less important over time? Do you think these will become progressively more popular? Or
I think over time, as a new generation of readers first experiences comics online, that is their tactile sensibility.
Right.
So certainly the people who are using iTunes to download their music, iTunes to get their TV shows, then you're going to see iTunes probably deal with comic books in a few years.
Right.
And that will be the norm for them. If you took one of those PDAs and you could simply pull it out a little bit, extend it, and then show your comics on there, I could see that really take off. Or if you had something that was roughly book size with a screen that would fit the whole page at once. Not to put myself out of business or anything, but I could see that coming in the next while.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a talk when I was working at Electronic Arts with some people that were, I can't remember the guy's name, but he wrote this big book on sort of how comics are evolving and stuff, and how
Scott McCloud.
Yes, Scott McCloud.
Yeah.
So
reinventing comics.
Exactly. He gave a talk at Electronic Arts. He was saying that what this digital stuff opens up to is that part of how comics have evolved is around that 2-page format thing. And it used to be everything in panes on individual pages. Then we spread to 2 pages. And he pointed out how you have different elements to allow the growth of the medium if you're not confined to that. So like you're saying, if you have a wide sort of tablet, that could change how you depict things.
It can move in any direction. He actually on his website had a great panel-to-panel comic strip that went in different directions.
Right.
And so when you open your browser, you saw a portion of it, and then you followed along. You just had to move your browser bar over and over, and you went around in a circle. You could be driven in so many directions by it because it's letting the story flow however it wants to, because your canvas is essentially immeasurable.
Now, for just a closing question for our comic fans out there, what are a couple fave comics nowadays for you?
Right now, Superman All-Star by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely is amazing. Really well done.
Excellent.
Really deserves the title All-Star. And the other, my personal favorite right now is Invincible by Robert Kirkman And it reminds me of Spider-Man when it started in the 60s, because it's about a young fella who's got superpowers and he's learning how to deal with it, and it's a really well done superhero series. Kirkman's getting a lot of praise for his Walking Dead zombie comic, which is also tremendous. But Invincible, to me, is just a whole bunch of fun.
That's great. Well, thanks a lot, Cal. We're great to let us shoot in your store here,
No problem.
And excellent to talk to you. Thanks very much.
As a final note, I'd like to thank Jop Nilsson, who posted on our commandN website that the latest Adventures of Superman comic, issue 648, has a couple kids robbing an electronics shop wearing a commandN jacket. So maybe not the kind of image we want to project, but it's great to get that out there in the comic world. Thanks a lot for posting that for us. I'm Jeff MacArthur. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy.